I thought I had another slide overview, but I don't, so we'll go right into it. First, I'm going to start with a little Social Security number diet, as David Couch likes to call it, update. Katie has worked with K-12 Solutions to create a tool to remove Social Security numbers that are no longer needed for reporting data on current students and staff. KDE personally has no reporting needs from State Edition. So we have used this new tool already and removed over 1.7 million unique Social Security numbers from unique persons. That was like 3.5 million actual identity records that were touched, because a lot of people have multiple identities and that Social Security number's on there over and over again. So we got rid of a lot of records. As a result of us removing Social Security number from State Edition, that means student locator and staff locator aren't going to find any matches if you specify if you use that parameter for Social Security number, because that locator is coming to State Edition to look. Since we don't have Social Security number, you will guarantee you will get no matches if you put a Social Security number on there with somebody. Because when you add Social Security number to the search forever, it only gave you back matches that had a Social Security number match perfect, not partial matches like it does when you just specify name, gender, and date of birth. So don't use Social Security number anymore, because it'll make you think somebody's not there that really is. We know there are times that Social Security in Kentucky is actually still needed, so we're not saying go remove everybody's Social Security numbers. So this tool has options to pick what you want to do. And the districts are going to control this tool, not KDE. We did it for State Edition, but we're not going to run it in your district. It's up to you. So if anybody's panicking, don't panic. But known uses for Social Security numbers is Kentucky Higher Education Assistant Authority, KIA, does require the reporting of a Social Security number for their scholarship programs. So that affects students in grades 8 through 14. Also, no pass, no drive form requires Social Security number. So your high school students, you're not going to want to clean that data out on current students. You need to keep those because you've got to have them to report. However, staff uses for Social Security number have been eliminated. Well, almost. Next month, we'll get a new version of Enterprise ERP upload report that will no longer match using Social Security number. It's going to use last name and date of birth only. So we're going to be releasing a new report called next week, a new report called ERP EPSB, Alphabet Soup. Upload will be released and we'll sunset that Munis version of the report. But it will only use it won't include Social Security number at all. We don't know of any other uses for Social Security number for staff, but you might have one in your district. But as far as we know, all uses are gone. So hopefully you can remove Social Security numbers from staff. This is the removal tool, and I'm hoping on your screen that looks a little bigger than mine, because it is very blurry and very small, but it looked great when I put it in the PowerPoint presentation, so I'm confused. But the tool has multiple options, and we're going to go through them in detail if you can't read that right now. But what you do is you pick one of the options or more than one of the options that you want to use. Some of them require an effective date. You're always going to have that parameter sitting there. It's going to be just whatever it was the last time you used it. And then you pick how often you want to run the tool. This is actually going to create a job in Task Scheduler. So if I pick once starting at, today at 5 o'clock, that's going to put in a Task Scheduler job that says what parameters I picked. You can't see them because they're hidden somewhere else, but it's going to use the parameters that you picked, and it'll run that job when Task Scheduler releases it. I have seen in State Edition, it made me panic, when I removed all those Social Security numbers, which is not an option in district, it was only a state edition option. The job was supposed to start at 5 o'clock Thursday night. It didn't really actually kick off and run, or it didn't complete and give me back any history on the removal until like 2 o'clock on Friday. So if you schedule the job and you know you're hitting massive numbers of records, don't panic like I did. Just wait and see what happens. So the first time you use this, I would do it as a once. You may get to the point you want to schedule it reoccurring, but we do have that option if you want to have it reoccurring. Warning, before you remove Social Security numbers or any data from students, you should check with your local board attorney to make sure you're not in violation of any rules about retention and that kind of thing. I know some of you have already tried to go out and find the Social Security number tool. It's actually called SSN Removal, but you can't find it because the tool rights must be granted as an individual tool right. It is not automatically available to the Student Information System Product Security role. Kind of like Combined Person is limited, and you have to go add it to yourself. It's not part of the security role. And that was just to minimize how many people have access automatically, because you don't want these jobs scheduled overlapping each other, because it's only going to run one time. Whatever the last one put in until that date hits and then it runs is going to be the one that runs. So you want to limit who has access to do this. Excuse me. To use the SSN removal tool, you must have read access to that tool. To view the run history tool, you must have read access to it. You can give more people access to view the run history so they know which users have been, or which accounts have been, not users and not accounts. It's persons, which person records have been affected and had a Social Security number removed. And then there is also an option to restore deleted Social Security numbers for the first 30 days after a job is run. You have to restore everybody. You can't pick one or two out of the list. You got to restore them all. And then you can do different criteria to, if you want to try it again. But you must have delete tool rights to the run history to do the restore. The SSN removal tool will be updated with our release next week. So the options I am about to show you are from an updated version. Please wait until after the update to use the removal tool to avoid some unexpected results. The screen options are actually going to change if you give yourself tool rights right now from what you can see, because the current version does not use effective date for graduation and some other things that you're not going to want to have happen. So just wait and be patient. The run history tool shows you what jobs have already run. On the example I have on the screen, you see it's in red, it says restored. That job, I restored those back. The 1,240 Social Security numbers that were removed from 646 unique persons, I put those back. And it's just click a button and wait. It's not instantaneous. It takes a while to go through that many records and put them back. So if you know you're trying to restore it for somebody and you're looking and sitting there on their demographics record going, it's not back, it's not back, it's not back. Wait till tomorrow. Set the option, let it run. Don't try to look at it that immediately, because it takes time for the jobs to execute. And it will go ahead and turn it back as restored, and it'll show the status as restored immediately, or at least in my experience it has, but they weren't really all done yet. So give it a little time. This run history shows you the counts of how many Social Security numbers were removed, who set the settings to run the job, what time they set it to run, what effective date was used and what options were chosen, because you can choose more than one option. And the option that's showing on this screen right now is one that's going, will not, that's is been replaced with one that uses effective date on the graduation, because I realized it was deleting anybody that had ever graduated. So that was not good. The run history details, if you hit the detail button on that last screen, it's going to bring up this view that gives you pages, a page view, 100 at a time, of the persons whose Social Security numbers were removed. The full name column is going to have everybody's name. If it has a number behind it in parentheses, that means multiple identities were impacted. And the identities column will list the identity record names that were impacted. Again, that restore option, little red arrow there, magic button, will show for the first 30 days. And if you have the tool rights to see it and click restore, those Social Security numbers will all be written back. They're being stored in a secure way until during that 30-day window. So let's look at the detailed options now so you can see them, because I couldn't see them on those screens a minute ago. Schools have collected Social Security numbers for guardians and others in the past. Hopefully this is not being done any longer with our Social Security diet. But why risk a data breach for data that's not needed? This is your low-hanging fruit, easy option to run. It's not affecting anybody that's ever had an enrollment or a district assignment. So this is an easy option to run. And I'm realizing I'm talking too slow and I'm running out of time, so I'm going to go forward faster. You have the presentation that has notes explaining this more thoroughly. There's a former staff removal option that removes it based on an effective date if you're an employee. It excludes people who have an enrollment record in the active year. So if you have students that are also employees and have both records, it'll keep it from removing their Social Security number. Or if you're using the attendance options, using it to take attendance, it's going to prevent all your staff that are active from being removed if you do enrollment records for staff. Former student removal options. The first option is going to look for, based on the effective date, age 21, so beyond school age, or they've already graduated before the effective date. But the first option excludes them if they're a current district employee, in case you want to keep Social Security number for a district employee. Second option removes them even if they're a student, an employee now. I did not mean to have these popping up like that, so sorry. The options to remove current and future students by grade level. The screen shows you all the grade levels that are defined in your district, and you can pick grades. It will remove Social Security number of anyone in that grade in the active year or a future year. So you might it's going to look for their most recent enrollment. So right now where you've already rolled forward enrollments, but maybe you haven't changed your active year, it could pick somebody out of 24-25 and somebody out of 25-26. So this time of year gets a little wonky. Probably not the time. You probably want to wait a little while longer before you would run it by grade level. That second bullet is a typo from Lisa doing this and not checking it. So I will fix that. That's not even supposed to be there. It has nothing to do with district employment records. So I copied and pasted that from somewhere. I don't know. All staff removal option will remove Social Security numbers from all staff who do not have an enrollment in the active year. So that's current staff or past staff. It'll get them all. And then there is documentation, because I'm almost out of time. At the top of each of the tools, there's a little question mark that's below where campus has their question mark that goes directly to documentation from K-12 on K-12 Solutions website. I've also included a hyperlink here to each of them directly. I've not checked them today to see if they've changed them yet to the new version, or if documentation updates are still in progress, but they're close. And KDE documentation with guidance on best practices will be coming soon. Do we have any questions? Because we have like 30 seconds.
No, I don't see any questions. I do want to thank Lisa for all of her work on this. When you all think about the $1.7 millions Social Security numbers that we were able to eliminate out of state edition, that's a lot of risks. That's your kids, probably yours. And that doesn't take them out of your district databases, but it removes a risk from one of the databases. So getting those out of state edition while we weren't using that, we feel like is a really a good win for us and our Social Security number diet and our overall data diet, because having Infinite Campus since 2007, there's a lot of data out there that we don't need to retain. This is a start. We have to be careful. We ask that you be careful. Lisa mentioned talk to your board attorney, but don't just talk to your board attorney. This should not be a 1 or 2 person decision. This really needs to be a decision that's made strategically for your district. You need to talk to different folks to make sure that removing these isn't going to be impactful to something that you're not even aware of that uses that. If you've got data exchanges in the background, there might be something going on that you're not aware of. So it's really important to talk internally, have those conversations, but we do encourage you to have those conversations, because just like we were able to do it at the state level, you can avoid risk, you can eliminate your risk to having Social Security numbers out there for students that have long since graduated, gone away, or staff that no longer work with you. Even if you decide to retain those students that are still enrolled, do something. And the options that are built into this system allow you to make those choices to do what you're comfortable with and not anything more. So thank you.
We do have one question on, does the medical staff not need the SSN to bill? We checked that over a year ago, and the Medicaid billing application that the majority of our districts use does not use Social Security number for matching students. You might have some specific other software that you're using in your district that you're using it for. We have given the option on the food services for Mosaic to exclude Social Security number. So some districts have dropped Social Security number out of their Mosaic matches a year ago. So it depends on what you're doing and what you're using, but as a general rule, we have not found that to be a need.